August 28, 1963, a date that would be etched into the annals of history. Washington, D.C. 250,000 people gathered, a sea of faces united by hope. They came from all corners of the nation, driven by a shared vision of a better future. They came to listen, to march, to demand equality. Men, women, and children of all races and backgrounds, standing shoulder to shoulder, their voices rising in unison. At the heart of it all stood a man, young but resolute, his voice ringing out with the power of his conviction. His words carried the weight of centuries of struggle and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. This was Martin Luther King Jr., and this was the day his dream would echo through the ages, a dream that would transcend time and space, touching the hearts of millions. He spoke of freedom, of equality, of a nation where his children would be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. His vision was clear, his message unwavering. His words were a beacon, cutting through the darkness of segregation and discrimination. They offered hope to the oppressed and a challenge to the oppressors. They ignited a fire in the hearts of all who heard them, a fire that would burn for generations to come. The crowd erupted in applause, their spirits lifted by the power of his dream. This was not just a speech, this was a turning point, a moment of profound significance that would ripple through the fabric of society, a moment that would forever alter the course of American history. It marked the beginning of a new era, one where the fight for civil rights would gain unstoppable momentum. It was the day Martin Luther King Jr. shared his dream with the world, a dream that continues to inspire and challenge us to this day. His legacy lives on, reminding us that the journey towards equality and justice is far from over. Born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia, Martin Luther King Jr. entered a world sharply divided along racial lines. The South, still bearing the scars of slavery, clung to segregation. Jim Crow laws enforced a rigid separation of the races, relegating African Americans to second-class citizenship. King's upbringing instilled in him a deep sense of justice and a strong moral compass. His father, a Baptist minister, instilled in him the importance of faith and service. King's mother, a schoolteacher, nurtured his intellect and love for learning. King excelled in his studies, skipping grades and attending Morehouse College, his father's alma mater, at the young age of 15. He went on to Crozer Theological Seminary in Pennsylvania, and later to Boston University, where he earned his doctorate in theology. It was during these formative years that King grappled with the works of Mahatma Gandhi, whose philosophy of nonviolent resistance would profoundly shape his own approach to fighting injustice. King recognized the power of love to overcome hate and the transformative potential of nonviolent action to bring about social change. In 1955, Rosa Parks, a black seamstress in Montgomery, Alabama, refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white man. Her act of defiance sparked the Montgomery Bus Boycott, a pivotal moment in the civil rights movement. Thrust into the leadership of the boycott at just 26 years old, King faced threats, intimidation, and violence. Yet, he remained steadfast in his commitment to nonviolent resistance. He organized carpools, led marches, and delivered electrifying sermons, urging his followers to persevere in the face of adversity. The boycott, lasting for over a year, brought the issue of racial segregation to national attention. Images of ordinary African Americans enduring hardship and humiliation for the right to sit on a bus resonated across the country. The boycott's success in desegregating Montgomery's buses not only marked a major victory for the civil rights movement, but also established King as a national leader. His message of nonviolence, his eloquence, and his unwavering courage inspired millions and gave hope to a generation yearning for freedom and equality. Section 4. The Power of Nonviolence. At the heart of King's philosophy was the belief in the power of nonviolent resistance. This belief was not just a tactic, but a deeply held conviction that nonviolence was the most powerful weapon available to oppressed people in their struggle for justice. Inspired by Gandhi's teachings, King rejected violence as both morally wrong and strategically ineffective. He saw in Gandhi's success in India a blueprint for how African Americans could achieve their own liberation. He believed that violence only begets more violence, while nonviolence had the power to convert the hearts and minds of the oppressors. King often spoke about the double victory of nonviolence, not only achieving social change but also transforming the adversary. King argued that nonviolent resistance was not passivity or cowardice, it was an active form of protest that required participants to be disciplined and strong. It required immense courage to face down hatred and brutality without resorting to violence. This courage was not just physical, but also moral, as activists had to maintain their commitment to nonviolence even in the face of severe provocation. It meant enduring insults, beatings, and imprisonment with dignity and resolve. The strength of character required to remain nonviolent in such circumstances was immense. King's philosophy of nonviolence resonated deeply with many African Americans who had long endured the sting of segregation and discrimination. It offered them a way to fight back that was consistent with their values and their desire for a just society. It provided a moral framework for their struggle, a way to fight for their rights without compromising their humanity. This moral high ground was crucial in gaining sympathy and support from people across the nation and around the world. King's commitment to nonviolence was not only a moral stance, but also a strategic one. He understood the power of media and public opinion in shaping the course of the civil rights movement. He understood that images of peaceful protesters being attacked by police dogs and fire hoses would shock the conscience of the nation and galvanize support for the civil rights movement. These images were powerful tools in the fight for justice, and that is precisely what happened. The brutality of the segregationist response was laid bare for all to see, and it became impossible for the nation to ignore the injustices being perpetrated. The world watched in horror as peaceful protesters were met with violence, further exposing the brutality of segregation and the righteousness of the cause for civil rights. The stark contrast between the peaceful demeanor of the protesters and the violent actions of the authorities highlighted the moral bankruptcy of segregation. This exposure was a turning point in the civil rights movement, rallying more people to the cause and putting pressure on lawmakers to enact change. King's unwavering commitment to nonviolence not only advanced the movement, but also left a lasting legacy of peaceful resistance that continues to inspire struggles for justice around the world. Section 5. A Dream Heard Around the World. On August 28, 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech at the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. This momentous event drew over 250,000 people to the nation's capital, a diverse crowd united in their quest for equality and justice. Standing in the shadow of the Lincoln Memorial, King painted a vivid picture of a future where black and white Americans would live together in harmony. His words echoed through the air, reaching the hearts of those present and millions more who would hear his message in the years to come. "I have a dream," King proclaimed, his voice echoing through the National Mall, "that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal." His powerful oration was a clarion call for justice and equality. The crowd, a sea of hopeful faces, responded with applause and cheers, their spirits lifted by King's vision of a better future. His words were more than just a call for equality. They were a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome even the most deeply entrenched injustices. King's words were more than just a call for equality. They were a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome even the most deeply entrenched injustices. His speech was a beacon of hope, illuminating the path toward a more just and equitable society. He spoke of his dream of seeing young black children joining hands with young white children as sisters and brothers, a vision that resonated deeply with those who longed for a world free of racial prejudice and discrimination. He spoke of his dream of seeing young black children joining hands with young white children as sisters and brothers, a vision that resonated deeply with those who longed for a world free of racial prejudice and discrimination. This dream was not just for the present but for future generations, a promise of a brighter tomorrow. He envisioned Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of oppression, being transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. This powerful imagery underscored the urgency of the civil rights struggle and the need for immediate action. The "I Have a Dream" speech was a defining moment in the civil rights movement. It galvanized support for the cause, both domestically and internationally, and became a rallying cry for those fighting for justice and equality. It galvanized support for the cause, both domestically and internationally. The speech resonated with people across the globe, inspiring movements for civil rights and social justice in countries far beyond the United States. King's message of hope and his unwavering belief in the power of love to overcome hate resonated with millions around the world. His words transcended borders, cultures, and languages, uniting people in a common cause for human dignity and equality. The speech cemented King's status as a global icon for peace and justice. He received numerous accolades and awards, and his influence extended to leaders and activists worldwide who drew inspiration from his unwavering commitment to nonviolence and equality. His words continue to inspire generations to fight for a more just and equitable world, a world where all people are treated with dignity and respect, regardless of the color of their skin. The legacy of his dream lives on in the hearts and minds of those who continue to strive for a better future. A world where all people are treated with dignity and respect, regardless of the color of their skin. The dream that Martin Luther King Jr. so eloquently articulated on that historic day remains a guiding light for all who believe in the power of love, justice, and equality to transform our world.